I'm going to blame it on being unemployed. If you have been unemployed, you will know how absolutely stressful, taxing and soul-destroying job applications really are. The amount of job applications I have filled in the past few weeks have just been second to none. I've literally filled in about 100 applications. Granted, I have heard back from a few, so in the new year, fingers crossed, I will be back to work. Job applications and Christmas are two things that you should never ever put close together because they just take up your entire time. Plus the fact I've also been taking part in Blogmas this year, so sort of the creative aspect of my mind has been focused on that more than focusing on producing videos. So yeah, that is really the main reason for me not posting anything. Obviously Christmas is next week, so it's very doubtful that I will actually be able to post anything else between now and Christmas because I'm away. I'm going to my auntie's house down south for 5 days starting on Tuesday. So I'll take my camera with me, but whether or not I'll be able to film anything will be another question. What I wanted to talk to you about today is sort of where I'm at with goals that I set myself at the beginning of the year. And one of those goals was to do with reading. You probably don't know because I've never posted a video about reading, but I'm very much into reading. When I began this video channel, I sort of thought that I was going to go down the book review side of things, but then I realised I'm very not coherent when talking about books. I set myself a challenge to read 25 books in 2014, and you're probably thinking 25 books, that's really easy. I've read 9. 9 is a terrible number. Actually no, 9's a great number. 9's my favourite number in the world. I've read 9. That is something that I'm going to have to work on next year, and I've already planned myself a structure. I've seen sort of like a 2015 reading challenge tick-off list that someone posted on Twitter the other day that I'm going to follow, and I'll post that down below so that if you're struggling with your reading as well, then you can use it too. What have I been reading recently? There are 2 books that I've read recently, and I say read, the second book I actually haven't finished yet, but I'm going to class it as read because I've got like 10 pages left. So the first one I'm going to talk to you is by Nicholas Barlow, I think that's how you say his name, and it's The Secret Paris Cinema Club. This is a book that my uncle actually bought when he came up to Chester, which was sometime last month, and I saw that he was reading it and he actually finished it while he was here. He was only here for 2 days. He read it a lot quicker than I did, which is very unimpressive for me. This book is quite interesting. It's a story about Alain Bonnard. I think that's how you say his name. If I've been saying his name wrong the entire time, then I've been saying his name wrong. And he meets this girl called Melanie at the Cinema Paradis, which is a cinema that he owns. And it's basically a story of how she goes away for 2 weeks and she doesn't come back, and it's his story of how he finds her. And when I started the book, it was very, very hard to get through. If you've ever read a lot of books, there has to be at least one book that you've read where you think there's that chapter that I have to get up to before the book becomes one that I'm really excited about reading, if that makes any sense. There was basically one pivotal moment where after I'd read it, I just wanted to carry on reading, whereas it was very taxing and it was very like a lethargic read for me at the beginning. This is actually a book that when I finished, I really wanted to actually see like it on screen, but I feel like it'd make a good TV show, like a mini series. I don't know if many people think that when they read books, but that's just me. I don't know if it's because it's about cinema, but there's a lot of imagery in it, and this guy really knows Paris like the back of his hand. I think he's actually German from what I read, but he really like takes you through Paris. I don't know if anyone else is like me, but I actually really love the way that guys write romance novels. Some of my favourite romance novels were actually written by guys. Like, I love One Day by someone. I can't actually remember who it is. Is it David Nichols? I think it's David Nichols. It is not David Nichols. Sorry, David Nichols. And sorry, the guy who wrote One Day, if it's not David Nichols. That is one of my all-time favourite books. I don't know what it is, but women, and I'm sorry to all womankind and everyone like me, because this is nothing against women. I don't have anything against female writers. Some of my favourite writers are female. All hail Queen JK. But women just write romance in a way that really grates on me. Some of the most recent YA series, they just write really whiny and like clingy female characters. I don't know if people are gonna hate me now, but that is just my personal opinion. Not gonna name any names. So the second book that I have read this month is called My Life with George, and this is by Judith Summers, and it talks about how it's basically like an autobiography. So when her husband unfortunately passed away, she got a dog, and it's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, and this book was actually given to my mum to read because we own a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. And it's amazing to see the similarities between the dog George and my own dog Oscar. Like, there are so many times I've read this book and I've just looked at Oscar and thought, you do the exact same thing. Why is it that Cavaliers have to be so annoying and yet so cute at the same time? Why? So this has actually been a really good read, and like I said, I've only got sort of like 10 pages left to read. I absolutely love the illustrations in this book. They're done by a lady called Martha Richler, and she's just created some of the most interesting and cute looking cartoons. This is my favourite one. Look, it's like King George. King George. That's because every dog pretends that he is a king and basically thinks that he rules the house. But in the bottom corner of every page is like a diddy little drawing of George. You can't see it very well there. And if you flip through it like a picture book, it actually moves. You can see it! So yeah, I will finish this very soon. Two books I have with me at the minute that I am going to be reading, or at least starting next week. One of them I've actually already started, but I haven't finished it yet, and it's really bad because I started it back in August when I went on holiday, and people are going to hate me for this because it's a really good book, but it's Marcus Zuzak's The Book Thief. I went with my friend to go and watch the film, and it just really made me want to read the book, and then I picked up the book, and it's really long. And that is my only excuse for why I haven't finished it, is because it's really long. And it's not like the longest book in the world, although it is like over 500 pages. But like I say, I've seen the film. Not that that's an excuse, because the book is so much different to the film. Well, it's not so much different to the film, but there's just like, a book can tell you so much more than a film can, because they condense a book into like 2.5 hours, and a lot of the times the film doesn't do it justice, but I think that they've kept the film pretty close and pretty on par with the book. Like, when we came out, I hadn't obviously seen it, and my friend was really happy with how the film came out. She said that it like really kept true to the story. So yeah, that is probably one of the only film adaptations that I'm very, very impressed with. The second book that I'm going to start, hopefully next week, is Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman's Good Omens. And the reason I want to start this now is because on Monday, the Radio 4 radio show of Good Omens begins, and I think it's a week. I think it's from Monday to Monday at something weird like 10 o'clock at night, and every episode is an hour long, but it has like a really great cast. It has Peter Serafinowicz, is that how you say his last name? It has like Colin Morgan, Louise Brealey, lots of other people who I have not named. But yeah, from what I've heard, like the Radio Times posted sneak peeks of it yesterday, like 1 minute clips, and it sounds really good. And I've always wanted to read like Neil Gaiman's work. The only book of his that I have actually read is Stardust. So I wanted to get more into his work because I really love like the work he did on Doctor Who, and he's just like a really interesting guy as it is. Like I follow him on Twitter, and he always posts like the most interesting facts, or the way he just words things is like something that only he can do. But I've always wanted to continue to read his works, so I will read this and then hopefully I will carry on further. I know that Santa is bringing me a few goodies at Christmas because I picked them, so I'm very excited for those. And if you've liked this sort of book talking ramblingness, then I may continue it into 2015. Please let me know below. I will try to post sometime soon, hopefully before the new year, because I want to talk to you again before the new year. But if not, hope you have a lovely Christmas, enjoy the new year, and I will speak to you all very soon. Bye guys.